I call myself a recovering not-for-profit theater manager. I ran not-for-profit regional theaters for 30 years, and then I worked at Northwestern University for 8 years as the managing director for the Performing Arts Center. And while I was at Northwestern, I started a small undergraduate theater management, basically a concentration, and I loved taking everything that I had done and experienced and believed and learned from a practical point of view and passing it on to the next generation of students. I think of myself as a curator, and I think what I'm doing is I'm curating the learning experience that my students are having, and I really try to look at each individual student and where they're coming from, what has been their experience, what is their background, how do they come to meet me at this moment, what are they asking for, what are they looking for, where is their curiosity focused. And then I try to create a syllabus and activities and a learning environment that allows each student to make something out of it, so that there's not one size fits all within my curriculum or within my teaching or within my classrooms, but there's room for everyone to get out of it what they need or what they want. And I hope by the end of every class that each student has moved just a little bit further on their trajectory, on their path towards their ultimate purpose and goal. And I hope that I've given them hope that they can make an impact, that they can make change, that they don't need to be a carbon copy of what already exists, but they need to understand the world that they work in, what is possible, and then they need to create their own point of view and their own path and their own plan to make an impact in theater. Because I came to teaching later in my life, I did a deep dive when I got to DePaul to really learn best teaching practices. And I really tried to understand, how do you build flexibility in both your curriculum and your syllabus and your learning opportunities so that it can sort of embrace any student in terms of where they enter my domain, my learning environment. And then there's enough flexibility built into the learning opportunities that I can sort of finesse something as I begin to get to know the students. I rarely give my students tests because I'm not that interested in what a student can memorize. I'm more interested in what a student can create and discuss and originate. And that doesn't come from testing. That comes from giving opportunities for engagement and exploring your own interest in a deep dive. And I'm always pushing back at structures and systems that is asking our students to simply deliver on what has already been done. So I'm asking students to think, what is something that you want to attack? What is your purpose? What are the resources and the ideas that you have to create something? And students can either do that in their own work through a project pitch, or sometimes a project turns into a group plan. I know because of my acting background, I know that I'm outgoing and warm and articulate. And I think that a lot of that is what connects with the students. That's why when you ask me the questions about teaching structure, I'm I don't know, I just try to show up and be me. But I know it's based on, I've been in theater my entire life. I started acting when I was 6. So what I teach is based on real life. I think that shows up. And I think my passion for the students shows up. But I really do love helping. I really love seeing a young person that has discovered something that they want to do and know that it's what I've done, and we connect over that. And there's nothing more than rewarding than seeing that potential and saying, I can make a little bit of a difference.